Hi everybody, I'm Larry. I promised several people I'd do a video after we got our solar panels and charging system all installed. So this is North Texas. We're in the Fort Worth area. This is the house here. We live on a cul-de-sac. A lot of trees around my house, so placement of panels was a big consideration for shadow and so forth. Let me flip this around and show you the homestead. Here's the house, and it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. The sun's coming up in the sky. You can see the sun's on the front of the house a little bit here, but also on some of my back sloping roof area too. My house is a really odd shape, so it's not the most efficient as far as, you know, if it was a boxy house, it would have more efficiency as far as surface area to interior room. But anyway, we're about 3,000 square feet. I was using 70 kilowatt hours a day to air condition and heat the house in the high seasons, and I had to figure a way to put panels on the roof. Everybody wants to go 100%, you know, but it may not be totally possible, so I had to make some changes right away. First thing I decided to do is I had been putting mini splits in. I did one in my laboratory and one in my bedroom. They worked out so well, I decided to change out the whole house air conditioning to mini splits this year. That's going to save a lot of power, and in fact it has. Let me show you some of that. This is the old 3.5 ton air conditioning unit we took out. Had two breakers, one for the outside unit and one for the inside unit. The outside unit had a 50 amp 220 breaker, and the inside unit had a 100 amp 220 breaker because, you know, we had the resistance heat on that. This is a heat pump, but honestly its heat pump function didn't really work that well. Anyway, this was a scroll compressor. It was good for its day. It's probably about a 15 or 17 SEER unit, but I decided to swap it out for mini splits. These mini splits replaced it, and they are back in essentially the same spot. This dirty patch on the ground was where the slab was for the big air conditioner. And the propane over there is for my stove. Here's the back of the house. You can see the sun's on the roof right now. A lot of trees here, but things are at the right angle, so I get full sun on this part of the house. Now, that area that's on the roof that you can see, I had 44 old solar panels up there. I put up in 2002. They were 45 watt apiece panels, 2.5 kilowatt maximum. Theoretical, I really never got more than 2 kilowatts out of it. Anyway, they were timed out, and I had an opportunity to up the ante and put modern panels up there. A good friend of mine had some great used solar panels that I put up. They're 400 watts a piece, and I got 8 kilowatts on the same area that I had previously had 2 kilowatts before. So that's the main bunch. Now, since I was using 70 kilowatts a day, I know I'd need a little more storage, a little more collection. So I put a cover on my patio. You can see it from here, but I'll go underneath it and you can see. I got another 4 kilowatts of solar collection on that. Here's the cover I put on the patio to hold 10 more solar panels and another 4,000 watts of collection area. This really improved this space. Had this deck, which was an open deck, out behind my lab. And we put this nice wooden cover on it, and for the roofing, I put those 400 watt solar panels. So this is outside. Still have my construction scaffold up here, but this is right outside my lab now, You have this nice covered solar patio cover. Total 12,000 watts collection. Now I mentioned that I had old panels up there since 2002, and I was grid connected. Well, they screwed around with that so much that for 80% of the time I wasn't allowed to be grid connected. And any power that went in the grid, they just didn't compensate me for. It was months and months, literally reams of paperwork, and the application process was a nightmare. The approval process was a nightmare. Endless phone calls to get them to hurry up and whatnot. So I decided to go a totally different way. Let me show you what we did. This is my house electrical panel. I rewired the whole house with these two sub junction boxes. Now these junction boxes are for connecting a generator to your house. Each one has I don't know, about 8 or 9 circuits in it, two 220 circuits and the rest 120 circuits. And they're each meant to have a generator plug into it, and you would put your refrigerator and heater and all that, anything that was non-dispensable. That's things you couldn't do without on there. But since I wanted to replace my whole house demand with solar power, I needed 2 of them. You take every circuit from your house and you break it off, and instead of the breakers just supplying the circuit, now the circuit breakers supply an identical circuit in a sub panel. This sub panel can switch between generator power or grid power for every single circuit. You can individually switch over your circuits, one or the other. This is the way we did it. So my solar panels are connected to my house via a generator input, vastly improved as far as permitting and whatnot. There's nothing to do. You just plug in your solar panels just like a generator, and there's no compliance issues whatsoever. Let me show you the inverter and battery setup. All right, well, here are my inverters and battery storage. And now you'll see 2 identical setups here, and they're all on wheels. They're very convenient that way. So each one provides 120 and 220 power at 16.5 kilowatt draw. In other words, I can make 16.5 kilowatts of AC, 15 kilowatts continuous from each unit. So I have 30 continuous or 33 kilowatts peak that I can supply the house. Battery-wise, they're the black boxes at the bottom. There's a total of 96 kilowatt hours of battery storage. It's about the same as an electric car. Now these things are not faultless, but they're pretty good. Each one, they guaranteed, I think the battery is guaranteed for 10 years on each setup here. And the 2 of them plug right into those 2 sockets with the green light down there. Those are the inputs to those sub-panels, generator sub-panels. So these are they are a solar generator. They're called a solar all-in-one, and they take solar panel input, that's the little breaker boxes at the top, and they charge the batteries, and then they make AC output and supply the house down in those 2 little breakout boxes that I have at the bottom there. All right, so this is the data panel from one of my solar generators. And if you look on the solar input side, it says 1,406 kilowatt hours. Now that's how much I've collected from the sun since I put these things in. It's now the first week in September, it's the 3rd, and I put these in middle of July. So that's about $300 worth of electricity that I've gotten from this unit in that time. Everything is settable, everything is lookoutable. Theoretically, you could even access this on your phone because it's got a internet connection. There's the internet antenna. However, I haven't been able to figure out how to do that yet. That'll be very important to me because we travel a lot and I want to monitor these things while we're out of town. But so far, in a month and a half, I've collected $500 or $600 worth of solar power from these two units. I'm pretty happy with them. So that's the overview of this system. It's basically supplying 100% of my needs most of the time. Now we have an electric car. If I take a long trip, it can outdraw my storage on the batteries while I'm charging that car if I use the 220 charger. I don't mean that it trips things, because it doesn't. It'll just suck those batteries down really quick. So some of the accommodations I have had to make for this is, if we take a long trip, I could put it on 110 charging, which is slow, but if you don't need to drive the car on a long trip in the next couple of days, it's not a problem. We're doing clothes washing, clothes drying. We have 6 mini split air conditioners. This is Texas. It's really hot. We've had, I don't know, maybe 30 days over 100 degrees this summer. Very hot. We run the air conditioning from early spring till it's still going, okay? This is the beginning of September. It'll probably go till the middle of October. So air conditioning all summer. We've got a swimming pool, no heater, but we've got a pool and I run the pump all the time. Some things I could change. So we've got tankless electric water heating. It draws a ton of power when you try and get hot water. So maybe I'd get a heat pump water heater. There's a big tank involved, and that takes up space, but heat pump water heaters are pretty efficient. I'll look into it very carefully when should the need arise to change out the water heating. Clothes drying, we use resistance heat clothes dryer. This is fine. The system works the clothes dryer fine, but it uses a lot of power. Maybe I'd get a heat pump dryer also. These are much more efficient than the resistance heating dryers. Honestly, the rest of the time we have to use power, so I'm okay with the appliances. We don't have any incandescent lights left, I think. We're all LED and some fluorescence. So our lighting is pretty efficient. Now, I feel guilty sometimes because we travel a lot and we're adding carbon footprint to the planet with our travel. But with the house project here, I'm taking a lot of carbon that would have been put into our environment out. I'm not putting that carbon in. We'll see how the longevity of the system works, but the last solar panels I put in 2002, they were still actually outputting in 2025. And that was way early version solar panels. The new ones look so much better and much more well made. So those inverters, we'll see how all that stuff goes. I think for my setup here, it's fine. 12 kilowatts collection, 96 kilowatt hours storage, and 30 kilowatt peak demand supply. For me, it's working fine. Now, in Texas here, it's going to take me 5 or 6 years to recoup the investment for this solar. But if it gets a 15 or 20 year lifespan, I'm ahead. I'm saving the planet. offsetting some of my travel carbon and probably saving money in the long run. You can put any comments you want down there. You can ask me any questions and I'll try and help you out. Thanks a lot.